The skies over Maryland are never still. Like works of art in motion, clouds move in patterns. They can contain beautiful, threatening, and sometimes unpredictable events. For those who find the skies fascinating, the science of weather is always worth a look.
Weather impacts everybody.
James Hyde is a special kind of weather observer, working to build a system that will help better understand and more accurately predict the weather.
I don't really know where the weather bug came from. A lot of meteorologists have the weather bug. I've had it since I was an early age. I was born in Oklahoma and spent many winters in Boston, but I think what really got the weather bug in me was seeing monsoon thunderstorms in Arizona.
James and his technician, Patrick Walsh, are part of a team called the Maryland Mesonet from the University of Maryland College Park. Today, they are visiting a weather station that they have installed in Eiler Park in Thurmont, one of 75 that will eventually be erected across every county in the state. It is part of a new Mesonet system.
The mesonet is a portmanteau of actually two words. The first word is mesoscale, which in meteorology means on the order of a size. So mesoscale is the size of a state. And so what we're doing here is we're measuring statewide weather conditions. Net is just network. So we are a statewide network of weather monitoring stations. We're providing data-driven solutions for weather problems.
These problems can range from droughts to wildfires to flash flooding. Maryland has become one of 28 states with Mesonet systems, and their purpose is to gather as much data as possible and improve overall weather observations.
For data on the vertical structure of thunderstorms, 5 radar ray wind stations were equipped to track freely rising balloons with radar.
Originating shortly after World War II, Mesonets were first used in the Central Plains states for research.
But after that, they realized that the weather data used for these networks were really important for other reasons, such as agriculture and monitoring severe storms and other things. So even when the government left, a lot of the states picked up the slack.
Measuring at 33 feet tall, these aluminum towers are the centerpiece of these stations, hosting multiple sensors that collect meteorological data from wind speed and rainfall to solar radiation and temperature.
So this is our gill shield. It's called a gill shield because it looks like fish gills. The purpose of the gill shield is to allow air to move through the gill shield and impact our temperature and humidity sensor. It shades it from the sunlight, but also allows air to pass through. If we had direct sunlight on the instrument itself, it would read too hot.
Regular maintenance is required to keep everything in working order.
This rain gauge, it looks pretty clean already, but I always just blow in there just to get any sort of like seeds out. Birds like to drop things inside the rain gauge and it clogs it up and it makes our data a little wonky.
So the reason we came out here today was to inspect a soil moisture probe. This station is fairly new. However, we noticed that one of our soil moisture probe, particularly the probe that sits at 4 inches, was not responding well to rain events. I think there's a rock in the measurement area. So all the other probes were responding to rainfall. So as the rainfall soaked into the soil, it was responding by showing higher levels of moisture, except for this one. This showed hardly any increase in moisture. And the reason why that would happen is because if it's reading a rock, rocks don't increase in moisture.
Sure enough, the culprit is found.
One of these smaller rocks, something like this, was in the measurement area.
Mesonets have become a de facto weather observing system for many states, as well as a useful educational tool. In northern Baltimore County, at the Genesee Valley Outdoor Learning Center, Jackie LaMonica is excited to take part.
What an awesome learning opportunity, what an awesome resource to the community, and a way to, also support their project that they're doing across the state of Maryland.
So we're going to take down the tower today, just do a little bit of maintenance on the anemometer, make sure it's all working right.
We're really excited to be part of this project in being a part of the science, it felt like, here in the Hereford Zone, in Parkton, and having access to this live data and all the information that they're able to provide is incredible.
One industry that relies on accurate weather data is aviation. And the mothership of Maryland weather reporting is at Baltimore, Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport. Here, pilots only take off and land with the understanding that conditions are safe. One of the people providing this information is Erin Thompson. Serving in the Air National Guard for 12 years, she began her career as a weather forecaster for fighter jets.
I actually started out as a child definitely afraid of thunderstorms, and I used to hide under dining room tables during thunderstorms. Now as a weather observer, I've gotten over my fears, and I think it's one of the coolest things to watch the sky change.
Erin's job takes place both in her office and on the rooftop.
As a weather observer, the weather observing program is a joint operation between the National Weather Service, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the Department of Defense. We are actually on the 5th floor rooftop of BWI Airport. I have to come out here so I can see the entire celestial dome. That's what we call the sky in the weather world. So I'm out here just to get a visual in all directions, north, south, east, and west. I need to see the entire airfield as well as all of my visibility markers in each direction.
Aside from her eyes, the most important tool that Erin uses is located across the airfield next to a busy runway. Known as ASOS, the Automated Surface Observing System, this massive cluster of instruments collects information as part of the primary surface weather network for the United States.
All of these sensors are used to help collate an hourly report that goes out for aviation uses and also National Weather Services for hydrological, meteorological, and every type of climatological data that they need to record for their purposes.
Because of these combined efforts, as today's storm clouds approach, the team at BWI is ready.
It's actually moving east towards the airfield right now. But despite that, because of weather observations, airfield operations are able to continue because we are able to update them continuously on how close and whether or not it's a danger to airfield personnel.
On Maryland's eastern shore, just south of St. Michael's, the Mesonet team's work continues. As each station goes up, not only does the weather data increase, but so do the ranks of future meteorologists.
The students get hands-on experience in a lot of different ways. One is that they get to play with some really high-caliber instrumentation. And secondly is that they're learning things about meteorology that is not taught in the classroom. In the classroom, you're taught a lot about physics and dynamics and mathematics, where this is real world.